Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Pat Nappy here from PNLearning.net, and I have another video here in my series on the SAT practice test number 2. I dug this one up. It is no longer available at the College Board website, so I figured I would go through all of the math questions here and give people an idea of how I teach SAT math in general. I think the biggest focus needs to be on speed. The hardest thing about the SAT is how quickly it goes. You have about 1 minute and 20 seconds per question, and let's see how we're going to do this one today in that short amount of time. And this question is going to be on the part 3. This is the no calculator section, and this does move slightly quicker than the part 4. And we're going to be looking at number 10. Here it is. Let's get started. It says, which of the following equations has a graph in the xy plane for which y is always greater than or equal to -1? Okay, so to do a question like this, you need to kind of know how to graph these different types of functions, right? We have an absolute value function here. For A, we have a quadratic function for B and for C. And we have a polynomial function which has a power of 3 for choice D. So if you don't know how to sketch these types of functions, you're going to find this a little bit difficult to do without a calculator. It's going to require you to kind of plug numbers in for x and kind of find the y values and then graph the points. It's just going to take you a ridiculously long amount of time. So the first thing I'll say is know how to sketch all of the basic functions. I would also add know how to sketch functions that are based on the square root of x as well, because those do pop up. And of course, know how to sketch linear functions as well, right? Functions that are in the form of y equals mx plus b. I went over one like that for number 9. In any case, what do they mean by y is always greater than or equal to -1? Well, if we were to just sketch out a graph and think about where y is equal to -1, that would be right down here, right? That would be 1 unit below the x-axis, and it basically means that we need to be on or above this line, y equals -1. And if anything goes down below this line, it is not going to be a valid answer. And so if we start to graph each of these choices, we can get an idea of which one will stay above or on that line, y equals -1. Okay, so for A, we have an absolute value function. If we just have the absolute value of x, we're going to go ahead and get a v that comes right out of the origin, and we would be fine. But we're going to see that this -2 is there, and that just means that we're going to take that v and it's going to go down 2 units below, and it's going to emanate from that point. And that means that part of this graph is going to be below the line y equals -1. So that one's not going to work. If we look at x squared minus 2, which is choice B, we would maybe be thinking x squared, okay, that's a parabola. But again, if we minus it by 2, it's just going to take that entire shape downwards. And we're going to run into the same exact issue as we did with choice A. Choice C, however, is also a quadratic. It's also going to give us a parabola. It's just that we are going to be minusing 2 inside of parentheses before we square. And what that ends up doing is shifting this left or right. And as a matter of fact, if you have -2, you might be thinking, oh, it's just going to shift it to the left 2 units. That is actually not correct. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but when you're working on a shift of a function and it's happening within the parentheses or before you square or before you take a square root or absolute value, that actually means you're going to be doing the opposite direction. You're not going to have the parabola shifting 2 to the left, but you'll actually have it shifting 2 to the right. And not that it matters in this question whether you shifted it left or right? If we go in one direction or the other, we're going to be above this blue region, right? We're going to be above y equaling -1 in either case. So you can actually make that mistake here and still get the question right. But we're going to see that either way, this parabola for choice C is going to always stay above that blue region. And for that reason, we're going to say that choice C is our answer. And that's pretty much the end of the question. We all should know that if we have a polynomial function with a power 3, that would be y equals x to the third minus 2, that it's essentially going to give us a function which goes above and up to infinity, but also down and below to infinity. All functions of a power 3 tend to go infinitely up or down. They can be oriented this way, they can also be oriented this way, but no matter which way you would have a third power polynomial function, it's going to be going infinitely up or down. And so for that reason, it can't possibly be the function that we're looking for, the one which is always greater than or equal to -1. So that's what I would say for this question is the quickest way to do it. Just kind of sketch them and see which one is going to stay out of the region in blue. So if you can think of a quicker or better way to do this question, definitely leave me a comment. I would also encourage you to give me a like or subscribe to the channel if you found this video helpful. Also, feel free to share this video with any friends who are going through SAT prep. And as a reminder, I offer one-on-one SAT prep and I offer group SAT courses at my website, PNLearning.net. You can find your way over there. I left you a link in the description, and if you think that would be helpful, definitely sign up for one of the courses. I offer one of the lowest priced SAT courses available. Averages out to about $33 an hour, and that is a huge amount to save, especially if you look at any of the bigger sort of mainstream tutoring companies that are out there. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for number 11, the next video.